Hey guys, this is LoGab123 again, and I'm here today to show you some advanced tips for making great builds. Let's start by opening an empty world. Then you will just put a normal block in. But before we start, I just want to learn you something very important that we will use in pretty all my builds. First, you can see that there is some colors that you can put on blocks and some texture. They can make your builds very looking amazing and looking way more beautiful than if you don't put them. But the texture and colors also have another function that you can use for determining statements. For example, if you put block in the air and says that the ground function will turn it into red, when it will hit the ground once or more, it will turn the block into red and it will stay red. But we can also make this block turning into yellow when it don't hit the ground. There is no prefab function for the when the block is in the air, and there is no not function used in programmation to inverted condition. So for making that, we are going to use the scripting priority. To illustrate this, let's put some lines of code with colors. So you think that the machine in the game will read it properly line after the other and will turn into each four color one at a time. Let's try this. So what happened? The block just turned into black and stay black. So that means that the last line always have priority on the underline and on the other and on the other. So it's going from the last to the first. So that way that will give us the possibility to make an inverted function. For doing that, let's put a standard color that will always turn into, for example, yellow. So when it goes on water, it will turn into red. By making that, our block, when it's going to go on water, will turn into red, but when it will not be on water, it will return to yellow. Let's see if that works. Poof, it's red and stay red. If we remove it from the water, it turns into yellow and stay yellow. So with that inverted function, you can do, for example, a plane that will say if a block is on the ground, it will turn into another color. But we are not going to use the cube for the ground or bump function, because when it's right into it, the bump or ground function doesn't work properly. So it has to be with some angle and some force to work. If you use the sphere, that may be just here, that is going to be different because it has curves, so there is always a little parts of the sphere that go through the ground without seeing it. or maybe not. So for the ground and bump function, be very careful, because if the block is not moving, the function will not work. And I don't know why, because before the update it works. Maybe some changes have been made, and the physic will not use two same points. But we are going to return to our cube, which is way more simple and beautiful. And I'm going to illustrate something else. So if we make, for example, a submarine, a boat, so that's going to be our simple boat, very simple boat, with one reactor that will always fire, and maybe one anti-grav here. And then, when our block is on water, it will go into red, and when it's not, it will go into yellow. So when the boat just go in the air without any reason, it will send a signal to say to the antigrav to fall down, because the block is just going all crazy. So it's going to send an A signal. So when it's not on the water, it will send a signal to the antigrav that will make the block fall. And there we go. So it will leviate when it's on the water, and it will fall down fastly to go on the water when it's not on the water. So that's the first example I will show you. Now, another state that you can use, another system you can use with colors, is the toggle system. The toggle system is, you probably already use it without knowing what it is. The toggle system will always works with a single condition, but that will make two different reactions depending on the statement it is. So for that, we are going to use the L condition, and make sure you put it 2 times, because there is 2 reactions that going to happen. So what we want to do is when we press the L button, it will change color. Every time we press L button, it will always change color. For that, we are going to put the L, and then a color, and then another color. Let's see if it works. Aha! Did you understand that? If you understand correctly, I have shown you lastly the priority of the line. So the color will always be red, because the ending line always have priority on the other. So how can we make a toggle system to make the block always change color when we press the L button? We are going to use another color. So when the block is yellow and we press the L button, it will turn into red. When the block is red and we press the L button, it will go back into yellow. So it will always switch between the 2 colors. But now we have a problem. It changed very fast. So we have to press the L button very fastly to make it change. That's not what we want to do. So we have 2 solutions for that. One is just putting wait button before it changes colors. So when we do a single press, it will wait a little bit and then change color. But the problem is that if we still hitting the L button, it will always change. That's not what we want to. We want it to change only when you press the L button. But when you stay on the L button, we don't want it to change color. So we will include a not function, like I show you lastly, that will make the block change only when we press the L button and not when it's still pressing. So for that, start a new cube and incorporate the standard color. But now, instead of using color for the knot system, we will use texture. So the statement will be with the normal statement of the toggle system would be with the the colors, and the system for making sure it not change when it stays will be with textures. So to begin, just put a standard texture that the block already have. Well, it may not have it for now. Just make sure you have a basic texture that you always wanted to go back in. And then, when you will press the button, or when it will do the condition you want, it will add a texture, whatever the texture is. I'm going to put maybe transparent, the more transparent texture I found, without making the block transparent, because we want to see the color. So we are going to put this. There we go. This is perfect. So when you will press the L button, it will turn into the texture. And now we add our toggle system. When you press L and it's yellow or red, it will turn into red or yellow, with just like that. We don't have to use the wait button, the wait function, because it will wait until we release the button to make sure it will turn into the other color after. But now we have to put our basic texture on the conditions too. So let's read this together. It will always be when it does nothing, when it don't change texture with any instructions, it will always return into no texture. But when you will press the L button, it will turn into another texture. But the scripting is so fast that when it's changed, it can read the other line at the same time. So it will change just at the same time as it reads the line. So it will make like the texture was not here. And then it will change color. Let's see what happened. So now you can still pressing the button for a long time without changing color, and when you release it, it just removes the texture and reset the scripting to make it able to change color again. So that's the best toggle system we can have, and the fastest and the no bug system of toggle system. Now if you see my programmation, you can see that I put a lot of conditions one together the other. When you put a lot of conditions together, it will it will do the reaction just if all the conditions are true. So if the block is red and it's on the ground and you press the L button, it will turn into blue. So that's what we can call the AND function. That is also another programmation function also used in electronics. And for the OR function, the OR system, just have to write it in a lot of lines. Just separate the lines and it will work. So if you press the L button, it will turn into blue. If it's red, it will turn into blue. If it's on the ground, it will turn into blue. So by combining a lot of conditions together, it will wait until all these conditions are true before executing the reaction. So that's the basic systems, the advanced systems, very basic again, to make you able to build very nice stuff and very advanced things. And as I always says, the programmation in Blocksworld is not that complicated. You just always have to think before doing stuff. And if you want to, you can just put anything that you think won't works, and sometimes it do something that you may enjoy and may use after. So just play with the programmation, even if you don't know if you don't know if it's going to work, or if you are not sure if it's going to work. Just do it and try, and sometimes you will have some reaction that may be very interesting. And if you still don't want to try things that you don't know, well, just watch my playlists of tips and tricks, or as the community on Facebook and somebody very experienced like me or Punk AD or Wizard Realm or anybody on the Facebook page may help you also to find a solution for your problem, even the Blocksworld company itself. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it, and you can go on my YouTube channel called lolgab123. I do a lot of tips and tricks videos now. I'm starting a series for you guys, and I really hope you will enjoy it, and really hope it will be you will be like it. So yeah, this is the YouTube update. I'm not able to show you all the things, but there is my tips and tricks playlist, and just check a look and take a look and like my videos. You can subscribe also. I will be very happy to continue doing videos like this. Thanks, and have a good day, and have a lot of creativity on your next build.